Welcome to episode number 92 of the BEBC
BS
Podcast.
Cody didn't participate. He didn't say BS.
Well, guests typically don't participate because they don't know that, but he should know.
That's right. We'll give him a pass.
This time.
We will.
Oh.
All those in favor?
Should we do a quick vote?
I'll vote.
Yeah.
We
Cody
wanted
gets
to
a
come
pass.
back. He adds class chargers. We wanted to come back.
You know.
Is that
Cody's
what that
sitting
smell
in the-
is?
Yeah.
It's class.
Class. We have no idea. August 27th, fellas, the day after the opening game for the Allen Eagles for the 2022 football season. And I have a question to start off the podcast that actually Doc brought up to me earlier in the week. Do you know, all right, this is 2022, so there's been 23 opening games for Allen since 2000 to 2022. Do you know how many times Allen has lost their opening game?
Ever?
No, in that
In
period.
that span?
Yeah. So we're talking 23 years.
Like once.
I'll say that was it.
Last night.
That is not the correct answer. So we got to think.
Wait. Okay.
All right. Last night was obviously a loss.
Yeah.
There were 3 other times in those 23 years that they lost their opener.
Really?
Well, I know we haven't lost one since
Euless Trinity.
coming games.
No, that was not the opener. You're thinking 2008, but
Yeah.
that was not the opener. That
Really?
Was, yeah.
Okay.
We played them the
The
second.
home opener.
We played the team from Mexico before we played
Yeah.
the Trinity.
We
that
whipped
year.
them. We
whipped
whipped
them.
their butts.
Yep.
Bunch of 19.
First
You mean
one,
at college?
I'll give you a clue. The first one was 2003.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Second one was 2006.
Okay. Garland.
Garland was 03 and 06.
Yeah.
All right. And the last one before last night was 2009. It was
Longview.
It was an away game
Right.
Oh.
at Longview.
In the dark.
In the
getting
dark.
rooked by the worst home cooking ever.
East Texas home cooking.
Oh, good gosh.
But if you
I
think about
forgot
it,
about that.
it had been since 2009 since Allen had lost their opening game of the season.
Okay.
So, but hey, it happens.
And that worked out all right.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
know.
Had a good season.
It's a loss, and you flush it, and you move on.
Yep. Well, the thing I'm taking away from it is there was a lot to learn from that. A lot of things worked, a lot of things didn't work. I'm still not a fan of certain offensive play, which will remain unnamed. But it didn't hurt us that bad, but it didn't really help us.
Yeah.
Well, as our good buddy Alan would say, who's not here, the growth between week 1 and week 2 is what you're looking for.
Yep.
And we got another big boy coming in here, and we're going to talk about all that later. But
Yep.
we saw some logistical stuff that needs to get cleaned up, all kind of things. But those are the things that you concentrate on between week 1 and week 2.
Right.
And that's what we're interested in seeing.
Right.
Is this team is going to come out from this game of maybe not mentally right now, but because it hurts. Nobody likes to lose, whatever. But how are they going to respond between week 1 and week 2 is what we should be focused on.
Right.
Exactly. And that's what hopefully they're focusing on starting today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know they are.
Yeah.
They're in there grinding.
Well, yesterday was our annual all-day-long tailgate.
Woo.
For most of us.
Mm-hmm.
Sauna.
Caloric intake of about
4,700
4,700 calories.
Yeah.
That was just breakfast.
Yeah.
That was before the cheesecake.
Oh, yeah. So it starts out with a 7 o'clock call.
Here he comes
Hey!
to save the day.
Yeah. Welcome, Nolan.
Hello.
Hello. Woo. Boy, you stink.
I know.
Nolan just came from the gym for y'all.
Yeah, he's showing off his muscles for us.
He's trying to work and get rid of his
Sweated out
belly.
all that food we ate yesterday.
We were just about to talk about that. So,
Big thanks to Nolan and David for
exactly. Start out with the breakfast tacos, fajitas, beef and chicken for lunch.
Yeah, since he cooks all the time,
Yeah.
every year, all year long.
David's famous
Poor guy.
guacamole
Best ever.
for lunch. And then we had burgers for dinner. A shout out to Randy Bridges bringing his platter of chocolate cake. Good Lord. That thing was huge.
Yeah, it was.
Bringing that by. And then my
That
wife.
thing was deceiving. It looked like a brownie,
I think that's got.
but that was cake.
It
baby.
is.
It was good.
Yeah, it,
So
it
the
was
white
good
shelf
stuff.
there, that's where it was last week.
So, the game last night, everybody knew Bosco coming in. Number one team in the country, according to a lot of
fully loaded.
fully loaded, ton of D1 players.
Yeah. 42 to be exact.
Oh, it's 44.
44.
44.
Yeah,
To be exact.
yeah, to be exact. And you just looked at them in pregame.
He went crap.
You're like, yeah, okay, we see it now. And they certainly were all that was advertised.
Yeah.
I think we had that. We had that knowledge coming in, and so the expectation was this was going to be a big challenge, and it was. And it ended up, a lot of things that happened last night, and we'll get into that in a minute. We've got a special guest here in 2 or 3 minutes that we're going to talk to a little bit about it, but we'll get in a lot more about what went wrong, what went right, and what I don't want. We do the normal, drive. Here's what happened. We're not going to do that this week. It's just it'd be really short on the outside.
That and it'd be soggy.
Yeah, but there were turnovers, there were penalties, there were blown assignments.
Bad decisions under pressure.
Yeah, there were a lot of things
happens.
that to me looked to be correctable. And again, you're not going to be playing an opponent like that the rest of the way.
Well, and we're going to talk about it after our guests and so forth, but, you got to remember, these kids only worked together for 2 weeks in pads.
Yep. Yeah.
And we'll talk about that debacle after, yeah.
Which debacle?
Well, the history on why these kids only had 2 weeks.
Sure, we could do that. So there was a lot of just things that before the game even started, you looked and went, okay, there's a lot of things against us here. From the coaching change, the amount of time the coaches got with the kids, a new system, third coach in 3 years, a lot of things going on like that. That just and then you're playing a team that is really talented. It makes it tough, and it was a tough night for the Eagles. In fact, I can't remember the last time I've seen an Allen team. I mean, we haven't had a deficit like that, 38 points in
It's been a long, long time.
forever. I mean, it's been a long, long time.
I can't
So
even remember back when.
there's a lot to take out of this, and going back to what Thad said, what's going to happen week 2?
Last night I was thinking about what we could talk about. But you know what? If we could have the 2013 Allen Eagles, and I know this is just play that team last night, I would have loved to that because
That would have
I
been
think
fun.
a lot of us agreed that was the best team we've ever had.
Yep.
How that team would have lined up against that many
Oh, they
kids
would have
that were
torn them apart,
D1,
man.
guys, and see, what would have, I just thought that was something I thought about. That's been pretty interesting to see.
I mean, I'd say, look at our team next year against that team.
Yeah. Or our O-line from last year that had been together.
Yeah. Well,
Hello.
Coach,
Hey, Coach.
Hey, how are you?
good. How are you this morning?
I'm all right.
Yeah. How's the voice?
It's fine.
Well, we just want to take a few minutes of your time just to get your
Yeah.
a couple questions for you. Nothing big and serious, but like the first one we had was, how was it for you walking out into the stadium last night? Because that's the biggest crowd we've had since South Lake when the stadium opened.
Yep.
And so,
Wow.
how'd that feel to you?
Yeah. Well, it was awesome. I mean, it's everything that you've heard about this place and dreamed about. I mean, it was incredible. The whole night, the energy, the buzz of the kickoff. I mean, it was really, really cool. And again, it was community, the fans, the people. I thought even the Bosco people brought a lot of fans, which shocked me.
Yeah.
They brought more than Plano West.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was unbelievable.
Good. Well, we're glad that experience, worked
Yeah.
out well for you. Tough night last night. Tough
Yeah.
opponent.
No, they're good. I mean, they're real good. I talked to the coach before the game, and he says best team he's ever had, and he's been there 12 years. They won 2 national championships. Of course, national championships in high school don't mean a thing because all it
Sure.
means is somebody sat back and said they're a good team. But they still name them, and he's won 2 of them, and feels like this is his best, and they are good. They're very talented. They're also very well coached. I like what they do. You can tell it, and they have time to do it. Out there in California, he said they are padded up, practicing year round, all summer long. They have. It's just like we have 2-a-days, fall camp, whatever. They do it. They're able to do it all summer. Not that they needed to, because he's been there 12 years, but you can tell they came in very polished.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Do what?
I said never knew that. That's very interesting that they have that ability.
Yeah, I know. They're also able to play a game in the spring, so they do a spring ball, and then they're able to play an opponent as well, which.
You may need to start
but-
loosening some rules.
But yeah, they're good.
Well, this one you can, work with the kids a lot to look at and, talk about and
Yeah.
obviously improve on for next week because you got another good team coming in.
Plenty good team coming in. Yeah. Yeah, they're, the thing though, the kids they played very hard. We
They did, man.
No, they never
there's
gave
just
up.
the places that were young and inexperienced. We made some young and inexperienced mistakes, but it wasn't for lack of effort. Right? They just. The kids did absolutely everything they could have done. So we just got to continue to do a better job of coaching them and giving them the tools to be successful, and knowing that they're not going to have time to breathe because, like you said, it's just going to be one after the other. And you get through C.E. King, and then you have Martin who beat Lake Travis this week already, and it's just it's going to be a good continual test as we continue to grow.
Yep, exactly. And we look forward to that because we were just talking earlier about one of our guys told us he's not here this morning, Alan. He just said, what you look for now is what's the improvement from week 1 to week 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, even what I was wanting to see is going in the game. That's what I told them. I said, guys, we're going out there, and yes, we're going to win the game, but you're going to get punched in the mouth in this game.
Yeah.
At some point, this is a really good team, and what I want to see is how we respond and grow within the game, this game, and I thought there was things that we did, and I thought there was things that we didn't, but that's, again, not to be unexpected, with all the, again, with all the youth and inexperience, but then all the change that they've gone through, these kids have had a lot thrown on them, so, again, they did absolutely, that score was not anything indicative of the kids' effort or their desire to be great or their focus and any of those things. They did everything they could do.
Exactly. Well, we don't want to keep much of your time. We appreciate you jumping on. We do have one other question, and we're going to do this every week as we talk to you. We're going to give you a softball question. So we talked about it this morning, and we know you've lived all over Texas. And so our question to you is, if you were going to go get barbecue today anywhere in Texas, where would you go?
I'd go out to Lockhart.
That was quick.
Yeah.
Dang, there was no question on that one, was there?
Yeah, no, there's some good barbecue out there. When I was living in Bastrop, a couple of places over there that are really good.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we wanted to make sure we understood. We're going to ask you something like this every week, and the fact that you
love it.
answered that one so quick, that was an easy
We may have to
one.
come up with some better ones.
Yeah, it may get a little harder next week.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Y'all have a great weekend, and we'll continue to improve. I can promise you.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Good
Coach.
time, Coach.
Thank you guys.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
That was cool.
There he is, guys. Coach Wigington, who's agreed to come on every week,
Yep.
and win or lose.
He's disappointed, obviously.
Yeah, I think when he looks at what he saw last night, he obviously saw what we saw, probably in a different light and perspective. But he knows what he's got to do now and get the coaches to work on.
And I hinted on it before he came on board. It's just, the whole situation really could not have been
More
any-
timing.
Yeah, the timing, the way our previous coach decided to leave after spring training, when he could have left before spring training, because I think we all know he knew he was going to end up doing that, and they could have decided not to do the spring training, which would have meant the new coach would have had more time
Yeah,
this
because
fall.
if you don't have to do it in the spring.
Right.
If you don't, you gain a week in the
You gain a
fall.
week and a half,
Or
yeah.
whatever, you
Yeah,
gain that
and
time in
so
the fall.
you know, if he had done that, no spring training for that team last year, which we all know was worthless. The new coaching staff could have had an extra week and a half with these kids, you know, here in the
Yeah.
fall and so
Yeah.
forth. So the whole thing, you know, for what, and Coach even said, I mean, that was the number one freaking team in the country. I mean, their defensive backs were 6'4", you know,
And
200 and something pounds. I mean, give me a break.
yeah, and their backups, they're the number 3 team in the nation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Well-
so yeah, nobody can take anything, and it was a hard, you know, and the rain was just salt on the wound, and
Hey, but what about the student section? They
They
went crazy
were
in
You
the
know,
rain.
that was the other good
awesome
thing.
last
Yeah,
night.
And guys, we mean this when we say it.
Yes.
That student section, especially during halftime.
Well, can the camera pick up the hair on my arm standing up? If not,
Oh, even in the fourth quarter, we think we will win.
The fact that
They were awesome.
They stuck around the
85% of the stadium
Bailed.
went for cover,
Looked
and
like a
not
band
one
night.
of those students left. And they were going, and I couldn't tell what they were doing out there, but they were having the best time.
They
Nolan
were.
and Cody and I stayed and sat through the rain. And those three, that student section was having a ball.
Yeah.
And whatever you were doing, do it every week because that was awesome.
shout out to our friend Brandon that came by the tailgate. One of the Yale leaders or whatever.
Yep.
You guys rock, man.
Yeah.
I know you watched the podcast, so we'll give you a little shout out.
Yeah, that was really cool. And
That was some That was fun.
it was
to see.
fun for us to watch, and I know
Yeah.
y'all guys were down in the concourse. So you probably saw it too. But the whole game, they were good
Well,
for them.
that-
I stayed in the rain most of the
Did
time.
you?
I had
Yeah.
to just finally
Yeah.
go to the.
Yeah, we did
facilities.
too. I still haven't dried out.
Yeah, we just went underneath at halftime. But that drum line got those students going, buddy.
Got
I
them
mean,
back
they
up
were-
there.
That was good.
For all you band parents who listen to this, sorry you didn't get to see your kiddo last night, but I think that was probably the right call.
Yeah.
You know, they were not prepared for that because we sit right.
Sure
not
as heck
right
weren't
above.
dressed for it.
But we can hear everything Phil says to the band, and the thing he said was, "Well, we weren't expecting rain tonight, so we was talking to the Woodwinds. They didn't
Yeah.
bring their cases." And
Or
those-
their rain wet marching.
yeah, so they had to get the Woodwinds out of there.
And that was so bizarre. It was just one little
Wall,
pocket of
yeah.
rain.
yeah.
And we all watched it. We all pulled our phones out when we could get internet access. And
Well, and you could see it.
you could see
Well, you
it
could see it was
yeah.
a hole in the sky, and it was coming.
Well, it's just
rain
one
out.
big cloud. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, and you just
But
kept,
as he got to the stadium, it opened up.
you're like going, that's actually going to hit us.
Yeah.
We were hoping it would go a little north, and it
Yeah.
just didn't.
Yeah, my mother-in-law, they live by Reed Elementary, and she texted me, "It's raining here," and when I looked up, you could see the clouds. And they were
Not
coming.
a drop at my house.
Really?
Not a single drop
it
of
kinda
rain
went-
in my house.
It rained pretty good out here.
Poured in my house.
My
And I watered
understanding is
yesterday,
someone
too.
someone on the Facebook page said it never crossed 75. That rain stayed on this side of 75 and went north.
Aha, that's what you get, West Siders.
Man.
Yeah, increase that water bill. But back to the game, we can talk a little bit about things we saw. You had 2 interceptions, you had 2 fumbles, you had
A squandered kick return, a couple
a couple
set us
times they
back.
couldn't get possession of the ball, they had to fall on it, and you know you had.
Everything
I
that
looked
could
at
go
the
wrong went
stats
wrong.
this morning. I think we had 6 penalties, which wasn't too bad.
No.
They had 13 penalties.
They
Well,
should have
yeah,
a few
it-
more.
My observations of Bosco, as good as they are, and as how much talent they had, there were some discipline issues on their side.
Which
you know.
usually happens in the first game.
Yeah, one young man was caught throwing a punch and got
Oh.
ejected.
Yeah, I
and-
remember
That was so blatant. That was unbelievable.
Right in front of
Right,
us.
Yeah, it
Just
was
right
right in
there.
front of the ref. It wasn't real bright on his part.
And then the quarterback. You had a stat on the quarterback. He was not that good.
He
Accurate.
was
Accurate,
He
yeah.
was,
I mean,
let me
Well,
pull the
he said
stats
first
up
game.
here.
He had
He's
some
a-
wheels.
He's going to Louisville. That's what's his name's little brother from who's starting quarterback at Clemson. So.
Yeah.
No. That was number 11. That's his younger brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who's a 5-star at defensive end and tight end.
Tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's crazy.
And I can't even begin to pronounce his name.
No,
Ukulele.
don't- Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Ukulele.
You,
Big boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big boy,
Big
6'5".
fast boy.
Yeah.
well, I would pull up the box score, but it's not coming up for me
Wah,
You can't
wah.
pull up your Wi-Fi.
because I changed it and I haven't told you the new stuff yet.
What's the name coming up? Wow. That's
It just happened this week, but he was 8 for 20, so his accuracy wasn't very good last night. And he had a
well,
couple
they
drives.
went deep a lot. And
Well,
I mean, and
They went.
They were
guys,
open.
Yeah, well, they were.
There were
Wide open.
again. Part of the issue again, he was 8 for 21 actually, so it was 38%.
Yeah.
And he only had 140 yards. It seemed like a lot more than that.
Yeah.
3 TDs and the 1 pick. Caleb knew.
Yeah.
Caleb, I may not be right. That's not Caleb.
Matthew knew.
Mitchell knew.
Mitchell knew. Yeah.
Sorry guys, we're still learning the
24.
roster. Made a great interception
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
Oh, that
He
lob,
broke
that
on
lob
the-
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
because
He had a good game.
Boy, he picked that right out of the air, man. That was good.
it was something else. Yeah.
Drew King had a good game. A lot
Yeah.
of tackles.
Yeah. Messiah Washington had a good game.
Yeah.
Good receptions. Love seeing that.
So again, they were up against a bunch of guys who were really good, and they did the best they could. But it just seemed like every time they get a little bit of momentum, a penalty will kick in, or a fumble, or an interception, or it just, when you have 4 turnovers, and I believe Bosco scored off every turnover.
They did.
Yeah.
And they had plus the safety,
Right.
which wasn't a turnover.
To
but
start it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you just put yourself behind the 8 ball, and when you're behind the 8 ball with a team like that, it makes it very difficult.
And after that safety, was it 2 plays and they scored?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the pick happened right after that. I think 1 or 2 plays after that,
Just
and
snowballed,
yeah,
man.
it just went downhill. Then you were chasing, and that's one of the things we always talk about is make them chase you. You don't want to be the person doing the chasing, and they got behind, and that's a hard team to catch up on.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So we go down 9-0. We have our one
Touchdown.
established
Yep.
drive
Yep.
that looked really, really good, guys. I mean, some things were clicking, and we got the ball rolling, and the penalty that helped. But I think at that point, the momentum was in our pocket, and we were going to take that in anyway.
Yep.
So.
It was just a tough night all the way around. And again, it's over. And so
Time to move on.
Yeah. And
tough.
talk about offensive line. I think there were some bright points there. As worried as we were with the youth and inexperience, I saw some positives there.
yep.
We'll see if we can clean up the penalties. Even though there weren't very many, there were a couple false starts.
False starts. And it happened like when they would jump into
They
a
would
shift
jump
or
in,
stuff
And
like
they were
that.
they were
And that's
literally
young.
jumping.
That's just young.
Yeah, and you're geared up and ready to go, and you got to get the first step on that guy that's bigger, stronger, and faster than you.
Yeah.
You know,
And they really were
This
jump
team is
shifting.
young. That,
Yeah.
on the line, this team
and
is young.
we all know we've
They're
even
big.
seen it in the Carter years when we've had young lines. They got to jail because that's a unit, and you got to trust the guy beside you to get the blocking key. All those things, and then you got to execute, and it's tough. It takes a while. It may take all our non-district guys to see the improvement,
and that's okay.
and that's why you play these good teams so that
because
they are ready.
all that matters is
You know,
district.
we've always heard, what really matters is winning district. And in order to win district, we think it's all coach speak, some of it, but it is true. That's why you try to schedule better teams so that you're better when it does
And
roll.
this is probably the hardest non-district schedule that Allen we've seen.
One of them. Yeah.
I can't think of one that would be.
We'd have to go back and look. In fact, I might do that research this week to see if we anything compares. But then again, it's going to go so far back that I may not know the talent level of everybody that we're playing. But from when we've really become involved in it, this is pretty. Like Chris said on a couple of weeks ago, this is an SEC schedule, even when you get in the district.
You know, their offensive line, what I've know, they did a lot of stunts last night, and they were just plowing people when they did that because we weren't aware of what was coming. But the good point was that the defensive line did a lot of game tackling and pushing back for negative yards, and even the backups did a good job at that.
That's such a good point because I think they had a whole lot of positive plays that you tend to forget about because, okay, you give up a long touchdown pass or you have a blown coverage. That's what sticks out more to you than the stuff where there was, tackles for loss or 1 yard gains.
I don't know if y'all recognize it. Like in years gone by, we've always seen, especially the first game of the season, mass substitution for unit. We didn't see that much.
No, I didn't see it last night.
And I think a lot of that too, it didn't have anything to do with the skill level. I think we just got to get that first unit acclimated, and the more reps they could get, there was less of that coming through the.
Again, they've only had 2 weeks of pass,
and that's just going to push the 2s and the 3s to say, well, if I want some playing time, I got to step it up Monday through Thursday.
Work harder.
And like Dave said, the second team looked good.
Well, just like the basketball team.
Yeah.
You do well in practice, you get your points, and you'll be playing.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
and they played a ton of underclassmen last night.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. And that's good.
Even the freshmen, who had a scoop and score. Yep. And like Doc said at breakfast this morning, you don't get that all the time. So there's a lot of talent out there.
Funny thing about that play, I had just leaned in to tell Mark, I was like, man, I hope they hold him here because I want to see if Caleb can break one on the punt. I want to see his speed. And Mark goes, well, there it goes down the sideline.
Just look. That's not a
punt. It
punt.
happened as I was talking about it, but Mark goes, well, there it goes going down the sideline. And it's impressive.
He's pretty fast.
He's pretty fast.
Yeah.
And he's a freshman.
He is a freshman.
Already getting D1 looks.
He had for those that don't know, Caleb, he goes by Jet, but Caleb Jet Smith was a forward last year, had over 2,000 yards rushing, and is a track kid too. And he runs a 10.5,
700.
Yeah. So try to catch him.
700.
10.57.
5.7.
100.
Yeah.
So a lot of speed in Caleb's little legs there. So, but yeah, playing cornerback and returning kicks or at least punts did something last night. But yeah, a ton of underclassmen play, which I love to see because that helps develop not only for this year,
like I said,
for going forward.
This team next year against that team could have been a different.
Yeah, because they might not be as good, and
To quote Axl Rose,
uh-oh.
just a little patience.
And that's something
Kind of like that.
Kind of, sort of.
I wanted to go back and look when we were talking a minute ago about your district games. They matter, but they don't matter. They matter to the fans because everybody wants to win. But as far as getting into playoffs, they don't mean anything. And what you can win a state championship with 4 or 5 losses.
Yep.
Look, the one year the Woodlands put us spanking on Katy early on in the year.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
And then Katy wins the state championship.
And it happens. I mean, you get Allen did it when they lost to Trinity. 2008.
Yeah.
Early in the year, lost Trinity, beat them in the playoffs, and won the state.
That was beautiful.
So it does happen, but yeah, and it's one game against a very good opponent. First game for a new coaching staff, a bunch of underclassmen, and it was a rough night. So on to CE King. Okay.
Oh, we never did get the Cody stat of the game though.
Oh yeah, Cody, your stat of the game.
Under 1.5 yards per carry rushing.
That you don't win very much.
No.
Remember how last year we talked about that every week? We talked about how Allen's defense, if they could hold people, shut them down in one area, make them one-dimensional, it gets very tough. And
Bosco did it to us.
That number does include sacks and lost yardage there, but still the running
The
game.
designed runs were not very successful.
And again, you got
we
to.
were
And
going
that's
east
not a
and
knock.
west and
It's
not
just,
north and
it
south.
is what it is.
Yeah,
So that'll be
We're
something.
going east
other-
and west because we couldn't go north and south.
that's what I mean.
Well, like Coach said when he came to, we want to be able to run the ball,
Yep.
and we want to be able to stop the run.
Yep.
And that's still, that's old school football, new school football is what it is.
Yep. What are you going to say?
Yeah, just in addition to the self-inflicted wounds of turnovers and safeties, we got to make sure our personnel's out on the field at the start of every play. We don't need to see guys running out there a couple times a game right before the snap. And secondly, let's get the play call in.
He made
In
the
time.
tackle, though. He made the tackle, but he just kind of wanders out there right about a second before the ball snap, just kind of wandering around. He's like, oh!
Should I stay or should I
I'd
go?
started dying laughing on that. I'm like, wow.
I think maybe everybody should just run on the field.
I just say, you know what? Right before the snap, just run out there.
11 guys go. But you're right. There were a lot of burn timeouts last night for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them on offense, which is, really
Brutal.
disturbing. But there again, those items to me are correctable.
Yeah, they're,
Oh, yeah.
Because that's
Well, and
That's some typical first week stuff.
those are
Yeah,
some of the things
if-
they'll
if-
work on today.
if that's cleaned up next week, that's a good sign.
Yep.
It's deeply concerning if it continues to happen.
there you go.
So that's a metric we should be looking at going forward.
This man throwing that big
I know,
terminology.
man.
Jeez,
Told
man,
y'all,
I got to
told
pull
y'all
out my
was coming.
thesaurus.
Those words with 20 letters.
The word was metric.
Yeah, that's still not a part of our
7 letters.
vernacular. I don't like the way I threw that in there. I used vernacular.
It's gonna be fun having him back.
Lexicon.
Are we kidding
That
me?
was pretty funny.
That's
This Randy Bridges sent this to us. You got to get closer. It's not going to pick it up, and you'll have to read what it says. No, it's a picture of Chad Morris.
and Todd Graham.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
And Todd's asking, who scheduled Bosco? And Morris is going, I don't know. Wasn't me.
Liar, liar, Pat's on fire.
Wow.
But that's pretty funny.
All right, C.E. King.
C.E. King next week. C.E. King won last night. They beat Crosby, which I think is Crosby 6A? Does anybody know?
Don't know.
No
We
idea.
can look that up because I thought Crosby was a 5A school.
Well, there are.
Let's see.
Well, there's 5As playing 6As.
Yeah.
First
Yeah,
game.
they were a 5A school, 8-5A D1. So, and I didn't know this. I haven't looked up the score, but they did win last night. They're much in a similar position to Allen.
They're still 5A.
Crosby? Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sometimes those players just run out on the field late and don't know what they're supposed to do.
That was good. That was good. But he made the tackle. He did make the tackle, though. You knocked that guy for a loop, buddy.
That was
I'm still crying out, damn it.
That guy's still in concussion protocol.
Kind of like the burn ends on those hamburger patties, right?
And hey, what was up with the speaker last night?
Oh,
my
I forgot all about that.
It was
Yeah,
in
we need-
percussion.
Yeah, before C.E.
protocol.
King, what was up with that?
Somebody in the sound booth needs to figure that out
I don't
because
know.
that was
But
ridiculous.
they need to figure it out before tonight because there's a game there tonight too. So love.
I don't know if that was a referee's
I
mic
don't
or
know, but
what it was.
my whole thing was Cheney hears it.
Yeah, somebody
Yeah,
had
on
to
the
hear it because it
phone.
went on forever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, click.
And fix it, go tell the ref to turn his mic off if that's what it was, or call upstairs and say, guys, kill it.
Would
Until
that be
you can fix it.
would that be our PA guy?
I don't know. He's doing the tech side of it. He's just probably doing, but whatever. That was annoying. C.E. King next week. They only returned 6 starters, 2 on offense, 4 on defense. Now they did win last night, so they're in the district with North Shore, so they kind of play second, third fiddle down there to those guys every year.
Or short headed
But it's another good team coming in, coming from Houston. It'll be a home game. We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know what to expect. You want to expect improvement, and you want to see some things cleaned up. Hello. Hello?
Not today.
Not today. So hopefully, the Eagles can do something to fix all that we saw last night. Or at least a lot
I'm
of
fully
it.
expecting a lot to be fixed. There's still going to be issues, still going to be penalties.
Well, and I think part of it is who you're playing is not who you played this week.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see, okay, things you did this week that didn't work may work next week.
Yeah.
Because of who you're playing.
Yep.
I don't think C.E. King's all 4 and 5 star nation.
No.
41, 44 D1 commits, all that kind of good stuff.
I'm interested to see what the mental makeup of this team will be.
Yeah.
Because that, like we said, it was a struggle, and I'm sure those guys have never been on, in any level, been on an end of an outcome that was that lopsided. How are they going to snap out of it quick enough to start getting ready?
That game could have been the best thing that ever happened to this season.
It's true.
Well, and when you think about it, the attitude that you take about everything, beyond the fans, the system,
And the parents.
which is the coaches and the players, and then the family of the players. If you've got everybody being positive to motivate the players to do better, to learn more, to work together better, as opposed to an attitude of abandoning ship and whatever else might be involved in that.
Yeah.
It takes that positive attitude and that work through it. I mean, David Goggins, if any of y'all ever have seen David Goggins, former Special Forces, Navy SEAL, baddest dude there ever was. Talk about working through some issues. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. And like you said, you don't abandon ship.
No.
And that to me,
Keep it
that's
positive.
one thing that is, I'm going to say ruined, but it's made it very difficult to enjoy college football and high school football as much as I used to. Is just things aren't going well, I'm leaving. And they've made it really easy to do. And I know the UIL will not approve some transfers, but it just seems like people just they do it. And if
Willy-nilly. That's
Yeah.
a technical term.
Well, just going off a little bit more what James says, there is no reason whatsoever anybody, players, parents, dads, should be upset at anything that took place last night in that game.
well,
Think about it.
everybody looks at it differently.
I know everybody looks at it different, but I mean, sit down and look at it. You're playing the number 1 team in the country. They've been together and been playing and practicing. It's a little more liberal, shocker, out there in California when it comes to restrictions and so forth, and having kids practice together and so forth, and coaches being involved and yada yada yada. So, and this team has been together, and this team's been together in pads for 2 weeks. Period.
Okay.
But I'm just
one word to describe the whole thing is spoiled. For years we've lost 14 games in the last 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the past.
I mean, I know, but
Yeah.
I mean that's what
Yeah,
people are
as,
used
as
to.
fans,
Sure, I get
general
it.
fan
But this
base
community's also changing too.
But I mean, we're spoiled to our successes.
Yes.
And this
Our-
team is going to need more backing,
Yep.
more support,
Right.
more turnout
And
than we've ever had.
we'll get back to that point.
And that will create that mental health that they need.
If we get turnout in that stadium like we did last night, like he said, that was. I mean, we haven't seen that since the opening day.
That you're right, and
That was
I want
awesome.
that student section back because
Oh, my
at one
God.
point they were so loud.
Yes.
It sounded like the whole stadium was yelling. And there was no everybody
I
else
think
had
we'll see
bailed
that from the students.
to the cover.
Coordinate with
it
the
was
section.
loud.
That section's been getting better and better the last
Yeah.
couple of years.
That's awesome.
We need some kind of coordination between when they start doing the Allen and we do respond with the Eagles. It takes like 3 or 4 times for the crowd to get.
Well, they did that.
recognize
They
this,
did
yeah.
that early last night. The
Yeah.
stadium wasn't even full yet.
Yeah.
They
And-
wait a little bit later and do it.
Because we can't hear how loud that is because we're projecting it forward.
Right.
But like in our section, it sounded like there was only like 10 people at first, and then people caught on.
Right.
And by the time it catches on, it ends.
Right.
So I don't know if we need.
We need a hotline to the student
There you
section.
go.
Call us.
They need to throw up a flashing
There we
light.
go.
We need a flag.
We'll get it
set.
started.
Countdown.
Fat phone.
Student section, we need a phone number from someone of the leaders down there. 'Cause-
Brandon, make that happen.
Yeah, Brandon, make it happen. Give us your number or something. Two quick things I want to give a couple shout outs because you start hearing names over and over again last night.
Yeah.
And this was a little later in the game, but you just guys that are making plays, and one of them was Houston Watson, number 69, defensive lineman.
Yeah.
His name started showing up quite a bit there in the second half, and Emory Lassiter had a really good game too when he got in there, and it's just like you talked about progression. You know, Emory played a little bit last year, and now he's playing more this year, and it's really cool to see.
There was one play in particular with Emory. He goes up, makes the hit, and didn't get a wrap on him.
Yep.
He tried. It just the guy kind of broke, but got back in and made the tackle.
Yep, like
Yeah.
a yard,
Just
down a game a yard.
I mean, he
Yeah.
recovered and made the tackle.
Pure
That's
effort.
the effort
Yep.
that we love to see.
You know,
Those are the Allen kids that we want to watch.
You heard Drew King's name a lot last night.
Drew
Yeah.
King,
Who's that kid turnover?
Mitchell. Oh, I thought you said he kid with the turnover.
Oh my lord!
Sorry.
Bobby Boucher.
You know, we didn't do this. We were trying to decide because this is episode 92.
Yeah.
We could not come up with the number 92. We
Boucher.
looked on
For
our-
years.
Yeah, nobody wears 92. I don't know why. But
Other than Turner.
yeah. And a shout out to our punter last night
Yes, sir.
because Dylan Morrow had a 67-yarder at one point,
Yep.
and
The free kick, which is hard.
yep,
The hard to do, really.
It really
too.
is.
Yeah.
The safety punt.
He had a
boomed
real-
that thing.
a really good night for, you know, especially when he gets wet and everything after that. But those, just some names that you heard quite a few times last night.
And the field goal kicker. I mean, he's got a strong leg. He
Mr.
kicked
Morton.
the one, and it went through the concrete
Yeah.
stanchions for
He's been
the,
doing that a lot.
for the
That kid's going to be able to.
jumbotron. So we see that
We
can
saw
come
the
into
scrimmage.
play.
He was
Yeah,
like 50 yarders, no problem.
yeah, that's going to come into play. So the special teams is an aspect that doesn't get talked about much. I think we did okay there.
We'll be all right. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, punter's great, and I hope we don't see him again the rest of the season.
That's right.
Cody's back.
Good call.
Well, he's
Especially on 4th and 1.
Oh, he's got a point there. A couple other things we want to talk about real quick. Or a couple other people we want to give a shout out to. David, do you want me to do it?
Oh.
Go ahead. Or,
Yeah, we want to shout out to J.R. Varnell and his wife Stephanie. They've been season ticket holders for 34 years. And they had two sons that played for the Eagles. Shane played in 1998 defense, and in 1999 senior year he did not play but videoed the practices for the team. Grant played in 2000 JV football, and 2001 senior year was varsity kicker and also the right-hand pitcher for the baseball team. JR, reason we wanted to give him a shout out is he's been ill. He was in the hospital for an extended period of time, like 8 months, and he is going through some rehab right now to get back on his feet. So we just want to shout out to him, thank him for his dedication to the Eagle football team, and he was very disappointed that he wasn't able to be at the game last night. He even told I think he told the nurses that he's going to check out for a couple hours so he can go to the game, and she just kind of laughs and says, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You won't be able to get yourself up and around. So thank you to JR and your wife Stephanie for all you've done over the 34 years and coming to the football games and supporting them.
yeah, exactly. And on that same note, y'all may remember a gentleman and his wife we've talked about previously here, John Bell, and his wife Susie. And Susie passed away from cancer a couple of years ago, and And John's been going through that, and John actually showed up last night, or showed up at our tailgate.
Him and his son
Timothy.
Yeah.
And John has stopped his chemo treatment, and he said he's entered hospice, which was, hard to. We've known John, 4, 5, 6 years now.
It was hard to hear.
Yeah, it was, and the fact that he made the effort to come see us was really special.
But he was comfortable with that phase. That was his decision.
It was. Cancer's brutal, and it's hard on him. And he wanted to come see, as many Eagle games as he can.
Exactly.
And he's an old former lumberjack. And,
Yeah.
but it was good to see John. And John,
It was great to see John.
Thinking about you and praying for you, brother. And appreciate you stopping by. So for those two families, we'll keep you in our thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
Anything we can do for you, just let us know. I want to put something else out there because I want some input from our listeners here, because we do have our 100th podcast coming up, and we've been talking about it a little bit internally.
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming.
It's
only,
coming.
8 weeks away now, and
Just imagine when we started this.
We've come a long way, and we got a long way to go. But we've enjoyed doing this, and it is a labor of love because it does take some time. And
Yep.
But we enjoy talking what we talk about, and all of our guests that we've had on, we've enjoyed them, and
That's been the fun part.
we appreciate it. And so when we roll around the number 100. If there's somebody that you guys want to see, let us know. If it's somebody that's a returning guest that you want on, or if we can make a phone call to somebody and get them on it, we can certainly do that.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Coach Westerberger's going to be on this, which
Eventually.
is going to be fun.
Yeah. I've asked him previously, and he's always said, yeah, I'll do it.
So we've got some people in our minds that we think we want to have on just for, either in person or, sit in with us or briefly on the phone. But if there's somebody that you want us to have on, as it relates to Alan or people in the past, just let us know and we'll see what we can do. Not everything is a guarantee, but we can try our best.
You mean we don't hold weight around here? We don't
well,
not as much anymore.
not as much as we used to. So that's a good thing.
Can I do the YouTuber thing right quick?
Do it.
So click like and subscribe down in the and comment down below.
That's right.
But comment, that input would be.
And we're open to sponsors.
Yeah, we are certainly open to sponsors.
we are a 501c3.
We are, and
We'll be our own little NIL.
We're looking for a trailer.
Yeah,
We can get you post-game Whataburger.
That's right. We'll do whatever we need to do. But we certainly take all that in. So whatever y'all want to do to help.
Yeah.
So 100's around the corner. All right, next Friday night, 7 o'clock, Eagle Stadium, C.E. King versus your Allen Eagles. We'll be tailgating starting at 2 next week, not 7 a.m.
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, and please come by and see us.
Yeah, come by. We had a lot of visitors yesterday.
That was fun.
Coaches came by.
We were there all day.
Yeah, and that
Yeah, shout out to the coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what?
That's cool.
That hasn't happened ever. And
We had
one coach came by 4 times yesterday.
Yeah.
That was the head coach.
And it's great seeing them, and they shared some food, and we shared a little sarcasm, and
we had fun with them, and
life is good.
They had a good time. So make sure you come by, and guys, do your best to beat the coaches. They're great guys. And
Did you just say beat the coaches?
I thought he said beat the coaches.
Freudian slip.
We love the coaches.
I think they've been beat up enough.
Yeah.
I did not say
Let's
beat
give
them.
them a break this weekend.
Oh my Lord!
Hooked on phonics.
Enunciation is your friend.
I have numb tongue.
Here we go with that. So anyhow, folks, we've enjoyed it. Hope you do too. And until next time, it's over, and we are out.